welcome. Let's pop my headphones in. You might be able to hear me better and make sure the sound's okay. Just to do. So, I took this morning, some weird stuff happened. So, this is about connecting to our guidance. Around this time, there's intense time for a lot of us and about the energy. So, vlog for my I am presence, connecting to our guidance. How do we interpret that guidance? How do we know and discern what in a vision, if it's coming through, what's past life memory, what's relevance to future? What do we do with all that information? This morning, halfway through chanting, I was like, really need to go to the loo. Run off to the toilet. I got back down and I feel really cold. I'm really feeling chilled and wrapped myself in my palomino, whatever this is called, and the blanket which I've got here. I was thinking, I feel real chilly. And then I tuned and I started to just breathe and allow myself to connect. And I could feel there was images coming to me, like I get when I get visions. So I allowed these visions to flow, and I was just reiterating this to my members and to a few people in the chanting group. And then I've kind of followed that thread and the meaning and what does it mean to me, asked higher self some more questions, and a lot of information has come through. So I thought I would share that information. And that's what this video is about. Firstly, for me to go over what that information is. Secondly, how do you do that for you? So the second half will be about us doing that. So I'm going to go over the information a little bit. So if you're watching this on the replay, you can skip through to the meditation. If this doesn't interest you, then go, I don't know when that will be, but I'll just go through that, and then you can discern what's relevant. But I think it's important. Some of this might be relevant to you, some of it might not. So how and why? Firstly, it'll repeat itself, so it comes up again. So I was thinking, it's cold and I can't shake that. So I was thinking, it's just a bit cold in here. And sometimes that happens. I thought, no, it's more than that. This feels like a deep core cold. Does that mean my energy is low frequency? Tune back, no. And I thought, I'd come on. Sorry for those guys if that's too TMI. And I was thinking, okay, no, temperature's normally high around this time if that's the case. Post. So I tuned all those things that my brain's ticking off that checklist, and then I go through and breathe, allow the music of the chanting to come through, and the images wouldn't allow, like they just kept coming. So I then just open and receptive for all good. What is it that I meant to know? And then flood of seeing through perspective of someone else's eyes, like I'm reliving a memory or a memory. So firstly, there's the emotion, there's the imagery, there's all aspects of it when it comes through as a download like that. So I was getting water being very significant. So reason I'm saying this is it all comes through in layers, and there's multi messages even in a vision like that. It's not just what I'm being shown from that past life or from that future or that person's perspective. There's elements of what I'm feeling and what's going on are always relevant to something that's about to happen in our society or in my current incarnation, and has relevance to my own life and to me in sharing it, which is why it's important to share. And sometimes it's just important for me to share with my members, the people that are on that sort of same frequency. Other times it's like now, I'd seen come out of that, and I'd gone, the girls are going like Yasmin Bolan was live, so we went and there was like 222, and I was like, oh, this is really light-hearted. What we were talking about felt like a totally different energy. Why was that so intense? Why is it important for me to know? Anyway, and then I've gone on live and thinking, should I go live and share this? And seen another friend of mine, and it's in Australia, 2222 on her thing at 222, so on the 22nd, which it is. So I was like, okay, to me, that's alignment. That's a yes, this is important. It's also the fact that today in the Indian culture, which is part of my bloodline heritage, is the 9 cycles, and I had to look that up. It's not something I knew. My aunts had put this thing in. Someone had asked about it. I'm like, okay, this is something the universe is telling me I need to know about. So it's this celebration of the goddess and the Durga and the mother, and so does this have relevance to that? And the blue ones, to me, is that side of the heritage. Now, I looked at this one vision and I've gone through a load of stuff. So let's share. The vision itself was of twin peak mountain peaks. So there was like 2 mountains that were kind of a mountain pass. We were up high in the mountains. There was one mountain I could see sort of like almost like they were touching, like claws. So the peaks of those mountains looked like they were coming together. No idea where that is, although I've since a little bit of research, I feel it may be some place, but I'm not going to say, oh, it's that and be right. I just give you the details because I think that's important. So mountains to me have double meaning. They symbolizing as a mountain of troubles and grief, the relevance to important of affairs, so legal documentation, official things. So this mountain that I was seeing, this mountain pass, and that coming together, I was like, oh yeah, okay. So when I've analysed on a personal level, that's that. I'm coming together with my partner. I'm getting married in 6 weeks. This is the beginning of cycles. This is the beginning of a 20-year cycle. So this is that, okay, on one level. Second level, I'm seeing a time that's high up, high in the mountains. We think of the heavens, where we connect with the ancestors, where we go to the heavens and we connect up high, high spirits. What was I feeling? This sense of cold felt really important. Now, I've been getting this thing of water coming through as being quite important to what's going to happen this year. And I mentioned that yesterday on Instagram on my live. So I'm not going to go into that. You can check that out. But that felt like I was remembering another past life memory that I've talked about before, where I was yanked out of the water and this feeling of sense of cold, the cold ice water as it hit me as I was in the temple, and it's flushed me out of the temple as the waters have come and then pushed my body up, and I've been pulled onto one of the boats. So that in this was thinking, oh yeah, so it was like I was going back through these lifelines, and no, yes, it felt like that, the memory of that, of and I'm thinking, am I associating with this? Am I confusing these different realms, these different times, however you want to look at it? So I'm seeing that, feeling the cold aspects, and then I was aware it's because I'm in an aspect of somewhere that feels like ice. It felt like water being relevant, but the vision I was seeing of these 2 mountain paths, and looking at this picture of these 2 peaks, and I've got a picture over there actually of 2 peaks in China, and these ones are resolute, they're up like that. They weren't like that, they were leaning in together, and cloud or snow flowing through, mist. It could have even been watery ice. But we were retreating, and I say we because I was with other people, felt like refugees, felt like some kind of war was happening. I was thinking cold, Baltics, Antarctic Circle, Arctic Circle, is that relevant? These are all the images that and questions that are coming up in my mind in reference to what I'm seeing and holding in my and what's flowing to my visual cortex at the time. And then I look through someone's eyes and I look to my side, and the person that I see was not necessarily a human, although I literally, and I was listening at first, I was like, definitely blue ones, definitely had like a blue like skin. It wasn't from frostbite cold blue, um, really white hair. And then I thought, actually, no, it may not have been their skin as such, because I know like woad you can put on to be blue, but they were covered in blue, so it looked like their skin was blue. Whether they put woad on their skin, whether their skin was actually blue, it was like a translucent look. The hair was very much, and I pulled out some cards to actually sort of show the hair was very much like the Lady Venus card in this pack by Carl Gray, with a white luminescent um, hair like that, or his sort of hair. The clothing was very different though. It was more tribal. It was more battle looking than this sedate look, warlike almost. So there was a sense of she was a warrior that was standing by me. There was a feeling of that security that I was seeing through a warrior's eyes, and we were retreating in a battle of sorts. And so that warlike energy feels relevant to what I'm being prepared for, and um, the wars. So that was making me think of this war. So I sort of in those areas, um, and blood, because I was thinking of the cycles, and that sense of blood. Now, blood of life, blood is sacrifice, blood is um, also this essence of our life force. Um, I'm not sure, it can mean end of cycles and death when we shed blood, um, but it didn't feel like the blood was connected to loss. There was a sense of loss, and that's why I kept almost jumping back into the remembering of the vision of me being pulled out of the water, because in that lifetime incarnation that I'm remembering in that life, um, I'm seeing the young woman looking back, the priestess looking back as the eruptions happening in that lifetime, which is separate from this vision, and she's seeing her love and everything she's known is gone, and there's a deep seated sadness of that loss showing up for her. And then there's this also deep knowing and awareness that everyone's relieved that they've escaped that, but she's like, that's the beginning of the end. And that's a sadness in her, a depression almost, tears flowing. But when we think of a net, and so that was like that old thinking of the way of things are. For me, when I think of that, I think of release. I think of the letting go, a sense of moving beyond. Our tears are can come with joy. There was definitely this coldness though, that there was a loss. Um, but they were safe, they were feeling safe, and they were retreating into what seemed like caves, um, and going back into caves. Now, I, in a little bit of research when I was searching, I was thinking about information that's flown in the past week. Um, some program that was talking about Stonehenge and how there's these lines that were created in the last ice age that that were there before Stonehenge was built, according to the current mainstream archaeology, that coincidentally then perfectly align with the sun. So I was like, well, obviously my memories that time around there, that's where things and refugees would have come up this way. They would have gone across to South America. And obviously you've got, prior to that, the civilization of Kefalonia, coming through the Mediterranean and up right into India. So I'm referring to what you might be thinking, or what most people think of as Atlantean civilization. So I'm aware that I'm going past what's commonly known as the status quo. But anyway, they were saying, so going back to mainstream archaeology about these lines, and that was in my mind. And I was thinking about that and these different places all through the Mediterranean that have got reminiscences that there were then in subsequently other civilizations after have built on top, like in the metropolis in Greece, and then you've got um, South America, the like the, at the bottom, and then they've built on top of that in the Mesoamerican cultures, and the Toltec kept coming back. So I just, because of another past life memory that I was remembering, and I'm sort of tracing the threads back to the meaning. So I started looking down that route, because again, this one memory I have, and I'm still kind of unpicking, and I'll go into that in a separate video, has a very similar look to these people with the really white hair, the coloured in blue, um, and that there was a kind of a betrayal of sorts in that lifetime that I'm beginning to unpick and remember correctly now. Um, so my guidance leads me down these paths like little pieces of a puzzle. What reference does all this have? I ask, and I ask for inward guidance. The cold is the low frequency. Water can symbolize emotion, but I feel like it's representative of emotion, the Piscean energy as well, that expansive energy. But there's this sense of this water and this feeling cold, that remembering of a time of war, a time of big shifts and big change in the past. What I'm trying to unpick and what I hope through my meditation to elaborate, to open up on more, is why is this relevant to us now? Um, the water, blood, and ice are the symbols that come through very strongly. Then I was looking at the image that I was seeing of this beautiful warrioress in front of me, and her hair and her beading and this very Mesoamerican looking culture clothing that seemed out of place with ice and snow. Um, oh, my hopefully you can still hear me. It might switch. This one's just gone off, so I'm going to take them out and hope that you can hear me still. And I don't know how to test whether you can hear me. I'm just going to, fingers crossed you can hear me. And then looking at the cards that I'd actually pulled and what their meanings were. One is download and understanding. So that was more confirmation of what I'm asking, and light activation. And the symbology behind this one, you see this very much like the symbol she had tattooed on her, which is light activation. It's the light. The internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. Again, confirmation. Trust is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astrological realm. Well, I looked up the Toltec mythology, and even on Wikipedia, there's a part that says about, and again, this number's been coming up, about this being a year of 7, and 7, I kept seeing the seven cycles of change, that we are healing 7 generations back, for 7 generations forward, the 7-7. And this reference is for the 7 caves where they would go in mythology, in that culture, to meet and greet the gods of their culture, their ancestry. And that felt like what I was being shown in a symbolic way, in a remembered way, of this retreating into the caves and the feeling safer to connect with those. But the persons that I was looking at, I was realizing that I'm feeling the cold, and I don't know if it's because I'm viewing what I'm seeing in front of me and feeling ice. I'm in a cave, I should feel cold, but I was very much aware that remember to regulate. And that was like, because I'm seeing in my mindset through the eyes of this different time period, the person opposite me, barely wearing any clothing, you'd think would be freezing cold. They knew how to regulate their body temperature in a way that we didn't, because for them, the cold and the ice was part of the time period where they lived in. There was these ice and crystalline caves in that time period I'm remembering. So there had been some battle, there'd been some retreat, and I'm very aware that there was different levels, not to the one that we remember flooding, but different time periods that span thousands of years of that golden age that we refer to, that we're about to step into in a more modern way. We're on the flip side of time. Matthias tells us that our North Star, that we have Polaris, is it? is now down the bottom, and the North Star that was then was Lyran. Now I feel very connected to the Lyran series of stars when I've got memories that go back further into that time span through time and space, shall we say. But that constellation felt very important to the reference of the time when I remember, and remember parts of that aspects of who I am. We remember past lives frequencies that we are most in alignment with. It's important to know. So the past lives that you may remember will be most in align with the frequency of what you are and who you are in this incarnation. And obviously I remember priestly duties, priestessly duties, warrior duties, identifying with this sense of energy work. The guide that shows me with the Qigong, he was also a Kyoto. It felt like Chinese, Japanese, Oriental, that kind of Eastern. And I don't want to pin it down because I don't know exact, but he's showing me the Qigong moves as I work through and what I needed to work through. But also my guide, which you will hear as she comes through, speaks what I now understand to be very similar to light language, love language, I call it, love frequency. It's to bypass the ego of this means this, they're saying this. So you totally don't need to even interpret what I'm saying. You need to feel what I'm sharing, because it's about feeling the frequency of the language, of the sound. And it's that sense of, in the beginning there was the sound, the word, sort of that, literally then came light. So it's the frequency that came first, and then you've got the light, the reality of tangible physical density that then all of that. So it speaks to being beyond the density of the physical realm and in between, and along the lines of when we are more telepathic and empathic, which we are evolving into naturally. So downloading and understanding, I know I'm going crazy. I normally like, oh yeah, we'll speak this way because they're not going to think I'm crazy. Now I've gone way past that. I'm now just having to speak from my heart, and hoping that whatever resonates you will take on board, what doesn't you will discount. So this is how I'm interpreting these images as they come to me, the reference to me. And I can speak of many, many references, like before going to Egypt, of seeing the cube bubbling up for the Nile, knowing innately that I would go there and whatever eruption was about to happen. So this was pre-war. I knew there would be something kick off. That's what my guidance was telling me, because it was bubbling, emotion, fiery, to do with this cube that was causing it. And cube at the time was meaning earth, but also meaning something completely different now. So I was seeing both on that. That was not going to affect me. I was being told that I'd be safe from that. That wouldn't happen where I was. So I knew it was safe to go. So I'm knowing that too, where I am now, I'm safe from this too. This is to do with water. It's to do with cold. It's the sense of it will make me feel cold, or cold to the bone. Almost going into the water, and also images of, in Titanic, when they go and you see them, they're almost freezing. That was that kind of like sense of it hitting you like knives. That's what I was feeling. It was that cold. And the images of that being on a mountain is the relevance to important affairs of these cold things that we need to deal with. The blood is... I don't think it's a sacrifice as such, or people being sacrificed. I think it's to do with understanding life force, understanding cycles, menstrual cycles, meaning the bigger cycles of time, and beyond those cycles of time, stepping in and out of that. So as I'm jumping into my past memories,
seeing there's a cycle of this energy that's repeating now that we can shift and do differently. That's with reference to war, and the fire energy, although there wasn't necessarily fire, but this is the passion energy that we're actually in with April, and the beginning of this astrological turning of the wheel. So there we go. And emotions and flowing. The cave as well. People were retreating into this cave. It's that connection to the God source that is everything. It was where they went. It's also a place that's relatable that I feel I need to visit to recover certain memories. And I mentioned briefly Stonehenge. I also want to mention that I feel there's been certain sacred sites that later on in, and I mean later as in the archaeology that we kind of think of as the norm and the mainstream. That's what I mean by later. I reference the times before that aren't necessarily documented, that are more from people's memories and people like Matthias and those that are the neurons of the planet that are sharing, and that archaeology is now catching up with. We're finding stuff and realizing things are older, and knowing that there was thousands and thousands of things that have shrunk with the water levels of how our civilization dates back to much older. So that with time will change. So the unwritten histories that we now are seeing in things on Gaia and stuff like that is very apparent, but is still not the norm mainstream view. And certain aspects of those sites in more future times, and I don't mean our future, I mean in the more recent past, were corrupted with blood sacrifices, with distortions of how the grid was affected. Some of it was more that it was off key. Some of it's where it's been left, and it's that image of something that's not been taken care of because it's been such a long time, and therefore things needed upgrading. They weren't having the same flow of energy, and sacred ceremony that allowed it to kind of flow in a way that it would. That's started to happen again. More and more people in the global network of people that are coming together in those sites that are doing that work are shifting that. It's making a change. Whereas before they were doing that and that was kind of a waste, that energy was going to where it needed to go, but some of it was being siphoned into different areas and being lost. This feels like that shifted. There's definitely being things put back to being in the sacred essence or in alignment of how they should be. And that's why I feel called to go to certain places. So that to add in is important. We are each of us in territories for whatever reason we need to, connected to our purpose. And it may be to remember, it may be because we are able to hold a certain frequency for that territory. So that's connected with the mother. That links into this next 9 days. And in reference to my blood heritage through my father's side, I feel very called right now to remind you and to remind others of the guardianship we have of this planet. Starts with us being guardians to our bodies, to what we put in our bodies, being awareness of what we put in our bodies, and actually being aware of what we put in and where it comes from and what it's been through. And I think that's very, very much important. And I as I said, I spoke about this for the transformation of the food and the frequency of the food that we put in, and eating consciously, even eating mindfully, which is like being aware mindfully when you're chewing and in a state of being, but consciously as in the frequency of what you are eating and what it has an energy of what you put into. And around this time in Vedic medicine, you would avoid certain foods because the frequency would interfere with that process that you are connecting in temples. You refrain from eating meat. When we went to Egypt, had very vegan, plant-based diet, but also refraining from eating grains, processed foods, dairy products. Obviously, I'm vegan, so I was eating that way anyway. And a lot of what you do for these processes, I do all year round because I'm called to, because I'm connecting and I'm cultivating in my practice as my daily routine. I refrain from having that stuff. My body doesn't tolerate it because it interferes with what I'm doing with my cellular process. That's a personal journey, but it might be I'm mentioning it and I'm feeling called to mention it. So you may be viewing this because it's relevant to you as well. And also it's part of my process of how I'm able to connect and discern in a deeper way. So it's clearer. It doesn't fog the energy of clarity for my brain when I interpret my downloads, because the energy in my body is runs with this in mind. It doesn't mean you have to, or that you're not connected, and you must always discern what's right for you. It's just what I've been called to do, what my guidance has strongly advised me again and again, and actually even when from last June. And in going over, I did a little workshop with my Telegram that's available if you want to see that on Eventbrite at the moment. It's just donation based. So, and if you really, really are stuck, then let me know and I will message it to you. But I wasn't live this morning, and I just went over some of the wording and the questions that Matthias asked. So if you go to RCM Foundation, Matthias's live is there from the other day for the equinox, and he's to hear the questions in Spanish and English. And I asked my members the same, and I asked myself the same. And I'm reflecting in the past year of being in Giza at the heart of the planet, and what we did with the grid work was an honor to be there in the chamber. AJ posted a beautiful series of like looking back at that time and what we did with the planetary grid work there, and he was there at the same time as I was, so I had that privilege of being. What he speaks about was kind of taking me down memory lane and remembering that time, like a choir of angels around us, and he speaks of this in his video. And so since then, that gift, the presence, the viewing of that entity essence that I was seeing in the higher self, the 9 realms, and seeing the 9 light beings on stage was a beautiful gift. And I could see how people interpret that as an angel, as an entity, alien, whatever reference it fits for you. For me, it was the energy of light in physical form manifesting, and my task to transcend the 9 dimensions within myself was what I was seeing. It transcended in front of me. I was part of the heritage group, and I remember very much my heritage from that time. And I feel my node is referencing, and this is why I'm mentioning it again, with the Antarctica node, with 2 of the other people that were on my node. I'd had a future vision of a very different time and space, of a blue pyramid in a place of ice, with beautiful enlightened beings. We were seeing our future selves. We felt like the image I was seeing was us in different frequency of being fractals of self. So those beautiful blessings, that gifts, everything seems to be a piece of a puzzle of where we're heading, where we've been, in reference to the now moment. And the point of power is now. So let's connect to that point of power. So comfortable. Got one leg down, one up. Take a breath. Lungs. I'm going to bring you over here. I'm going to stand, actually. I feel important to stand. Breathe. Now, I will tone with sound, allow that to wash over you. Connect just with your breath and just feel, witness what you're feeling, whatever you're feeling, if it's tears, if it's anger, just be witness to it. We're tuning to the totality of the senses first, much like in my meditations that I used to do for Meditation Monday, and allow yourself to just be present in the now with me, and I'll see where we head. Breathe. Tuck the tongue behind the teeth. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let go. Let go of your thoughts. Trust me to be the guardian that holds you in this down moment through the sound of my voice and my soul. Allow the room, wherever you are in this down moment, to fall away by closing your eyes and reflecting in. We're going to walk into the temple of our heart. Close your eyes and just breathe in. Breathe in as if you're breathing in through the heart and out through the heart. If you feel you need to enact the body to bring the mind and the body in, then you can stand and I will move my limbs. You'll see with just breath, moving the hands in and out. Visualize a central column, our nomadic staff, enlightened, lit. So a column of light flowing through the top of the head. Coming and flowing down through past all of the chakras. Going down into the earth. Feel your feet beneath you, your bottom in the chair, or if you're laying down beneath you. Tune into the earth and ground, anchoring in this light through this staff of light. Our connection. Use these visual imagery to allow you to envision this. Use your breath to just be present. And allow whatever comes up. If you need to, write it down. Just make mental note. Just observe. Remember that you are the observer. You're not the thought itself. You're not the one creating it. You're the one observing it in this moment when you are in your God consciousness self. Karayana satana nala kiai tu. Attune to the crystalline being that you are becoming. Ka is the soul. Karana sa ta ala kara na sa ta ala kara na sa ta ala kara ya sa ta tune reality to the now, to the 0 point, to the set point, to the heart. Just feel your breath. El Sanu. Clear the lungs as I'm doing clear. Let go whatever needs to come out. Tears, coughing, shaking, releasing, let it go. Know that you are safe. Know you are grounded in this now moment. Yeah. Lo soto. Yo shoto koshukaya ya nakai si tulu koshu. Na kia la koso. Sono kushukola ya nangiaya. Nakia to koshuko. Ela nakia shoto kolo kaya ya ni ayataya. Ela katila kushukulo kola ya nakia tia. Tukudo shaya la kila yanaya. Nia yutu tai. Oto tia ya ni aya yulu. Tayana kia nuku. Ela sanandukunu shukula ya tia. Esa nakia la kushu. Taki na kushu no koi ya dai. Eto kosha ya ni ano ru sholo da ya la gi ya la ko. Eta na katushu ko ya la gi ya ishuku la ya na ya. Anana ya. Yes, nandukuno shula ya. Ela yene kia shula ya etai. Isikia shukuru lolo tiki kiki. Eta kaya na kaya kata kaya. Oto loko la ya ji taya la kai. Hum with me. Hum. Hum and feel your vocal cords. Ayanda kadikia tikisuno ushaya ira rigetaya lo suturo. Iataya. Just breathe now. Breathe. Observe and feel. She's told me to sit on the floor. You can sit cross-legged if you can. For this body, she uses me to sit this way. Right, as I've already done this, she's already done this in an energetical form, but just to say this out loud so you know what I have been doing, what I am doing. We were tuning our body, tuning our sound, tuning our Merkaba, and tuning into our light body. And Tika just working through that. She's working through my tones, should help to tone you. And she, now the elders are ones I'm being shown that I'm connected to, aspects of myself from past lives where we would be sitting in sacred circle around fire, where they would do this in many cultures across the earth, where we honour those that have come before, those that come in future. But we are the guardians. I am a guardian, so I feel that presence here now. I call that. I'm thankful for that. I am honoured to be that. And they speak through me, they being me, higher remembered aspects of me from outside of time and space. I do not speak a language, though it is akin to some languages, and you may have heard on this earth, because they have resonance and frequency with those languages. I am speaking in frequency. I tuned with love of my soul and connected deeply and grounded and anchored in my soul. And but I am a reflection of you and your soul. And so it's in me that's speaking. I'm not channeling a person. And I'm channeling aspects and fractals of myself. And energy. I'm reading energy and interpreting energy. I'm feeling the energy. To feel it with me. Yes, in a heti, so even in my own body, in my own frequency, there's still elements that I must tune to be the fullness of every aspect of myself. So that comes with time, with practice. This being that speaks, that comes to the forefront, is the most in frequency and resonance with that who I am in this now moment, in this kind of location. So she comes through from my memories of her. She was able to do what I am doing now. So That's why she is most present. She is I. Yushuko, but I is many. I is ka. She, my essence of my being, my soul, and my collective star family. That which we call consciousness, God called force consciousness in resonant frequency is the most that I can translate, and it's not meant to be translated. That's very important for me to express. It's meant to be felt. Heard. I got a sense of you must work on your body here for me personally. It will help with my grounding and bringing in more frequency. Right. Anyway, so I now, Teresa, will guide you with a little bit of a creative visualization. Through sound. From Mother. From the Goddess, from Earth, from you, from me. Connect to your God source within. Connect to your intuition, if you like. If you prefer, connect to your insights. Just connect to your breath, closing your eyes if they've been open, tucking the tongue behind the teeth. Just breathe. Feel and remember who you are. Remember your birthing and your deaths. Remember this moment in time is a birth and a death. Every second is birth and death. To you, remember that you are no longer needing to birth and death. Listen to the thoughts as they come up. Who is it that you hear when you hear your own thoughts of your mind? When you speak, she works on my body. Karanaya satanaya yandiaku elamia kianaya to el kayania nia so ya no ya ya to who do you hear? What do you see? What do you feel? You feel in your body as my higher self is working on my lower aspect on my left hand side. The flow to cleave, to ground, to anchor in my own reality. Feel about where you need to work on your body. Where are the cells not in resonance with your new? It's not even new. Where are the cells not in resonance? What in your life is shifting? She's sorry. I keep getting this image anyway, of the liquefaction of the earth beneath us. Imagine the liquefaction of what you are sitting on. It disappears. But you still balance. You still balance like those standing rocks that balancing perfectly, holding together, only holding together because they're perfect alignment. One movement out of alignment, they will fall. You will balance in this time. Earth is moving. Frequency is shifting. Reality is evolving. You must evolve with it. Your body included. My body included. Listen to your soul. Listen to your guidance. You know what's right for you. You don't need to be confused. You don't need to be fearful. You just need to breathe and know that your being has got you. The rest of you, the aspects of you are there waiting for you to just tune. Christic template. The crystalline being. Think of your crystalline structure of your soul. It's bright, it's shiny, it's reflecting out that which you are bringing into being. In many fractals, in many realms, in many times, all simultaneously. Behind us, in front of us, below us, above us. Here in the heart, feel the light expand as it expands, just like the point of the big bang of the universe. Each cell is having a big bang moment in your body. Celebration here, Nike, but releasing. We let go. The tears flow. When we release. The rivers break their banks. See the life and the you that you are. Not who you want to be, who you are. It is the angels that you look to. You are the angel. You are that which you have been looking externally for. Look within. See, remember, and be. Blessings. Reflectors. Slowly start to be aware of your body, and you rub the hands together, just rub off any excess energy and flick from the chin over the head, like we're washing in the light, washed in the light and sound. Breathe. Feel earth, ground beneath you. If you're sitting, just feel it through your feet. If you can't sit like me, you didn't have to sit like me. I should have said that. I was called to sit that way. I have to ground, and Now just feel. What do you feel in this now moment? Do you feel calm? Do you feel earthed? Do you feel grounded? Do you feel lightheaded? How are you feeling? Do you feel sad, angry, confused? Just make notes without judgment. Okay, you are where you are, that's okay. The mother in me mothers me, mothers you. Adda, the mother in you, the nurturing the child, the inner being. Yedaya. That is the goddess essence. She tells you off. She reminds you, don't eat that. That's not good for you. Stop doing that. That'll hurt you. And she brings you back. She hugs you. She loves you. You do all those things for yourself. Honor that aspect, that nurturing aspect of you for the next few days, for the next 9 days. Blessings. My soul is reminding you. I call it soul. She has a name, but I'm not meant to say it with everyone because it's quite powerful to know your soul name. It's like a key of understanding for self. So listen and ask, what's my soul name if you want to know? I hear it come back. It's the key to unlocking. And that guy. Now, you must eat something, drink something of the earth. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, go eat a carrot. Something green from the garden, something that's living but living from light. Fruits, but carrots, if you feel like you're really lightheaded. Vegetables. Thank you for listening. If you think I'm crazy, I'm sorry. Whether that resonates with you or not. I hope that this helps, my sharing, and blessings to you in your now moment. I will be doing more of these, apparently, I'm told, in this now moment. I don't know, until I'm just following what my energy and my guidance. That was my sole purpose. I put my intention is to do what my higher self is telling me for the greatest good of all involved, for the highest potential of my own evolution and those around me. So I shall be doing what guidance I'm given. So love and blessings in your now moment. Please like this video. It helps with the algorithms stuff. Share this with people you feel would resonate. Blessings to you. I know I'm Teresa, by the way, in case you don't know.